way to LA. While the main attraction of WonderCon has always been various retailers selling back issues of comic books and action figures, the exhibitor list has grown to include retailers of specialty DVDs. WonderCon is literally the sister show to Comic-Con International, embracing all the main aspects of that show, including comics, movies, TV, animation, a masquerade, and more. WonderCon 2016 will be held March 25th, 26th, and 27th at the Los Angeles Convention Center, located at 1201 South Figueroa Street. For more, visit comic-con.org. Bob Dylan, Photographs by Daniel Kramer, documents Bob Dylan's metamorphosis from folk musician to rock and roll icon through more than 50 photographs taken by New York-based photographer and film director Daniel Kramer for a year and a day during 1964 and 1965. On display at the Grammy Museum's second floor through May 15th. For more, visit GrammyMuseum.org. Learning what propaganda is and how to counter it is essential in today's information-saturated world. The special exhibition, State of Deception, The Power of Nazi Propaganda, produced by the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, explores how the Nazis used propaganda to win broad voter support in Germany, implement radical programs, and justify war and mass murder. This exhibit will be on display through August 21st at the Central Library located at 630 West 5th Street. The exhibit and related programs are free. For more, visit lapl.org. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane. From all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Did you know that more than 80% of false alarms are related to preventable user errors, such as open windows or pets? Any motion can trigger an alarm. Thousands of police patrol hours are wasted investigating alarm reports that turn out to be false alarms. That's crime-fighting time lost. Make sure your alarm is working properly.
Don't worry, Patty. This isn't going to hurt me one bit. Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Shapiro in beautiful Encino, and you're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel. Open wide.
Good morning, good morning. Shh. If I could have everyone take their seats. Everyone, please take your seats. Today is Wednesday, March 23rd. I want to welcome you to your Los Angeles City Council. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. The public is welcome. Today's a very special day, so we're going to get started. Mr. Clerk, we have a quorum. Would you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bono, Buscaino, Sadu, Engler, Fuentes, Harris, Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Wesson. 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Price moves. Mr. Cedillo seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Koretz moves and Mr. Krikorian seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, the Office of Finance recommends that item 2A be received and filed inasmuch as payment arrangements have been made for the liability owed. Further, there are requests to continue items 1 to April 22nd, item 3 to May 24th, and items 15 and 16 to April 6th.
Okay, so without objection, that'll be the order. Why don't we continue and run through the agenda?
Very good, sir. Items 2B and 2C are items noticed for public hearing.
Do we have cards?
Yes, sir, we do.
So let's hold those items and continue.
Very good, sir. Items 4 through 16 are items for which public hearings have been held. Committee reports for items 4, 5, 10, and 14 have been submitted and circulated for Council's consideration. And for the record, item 5 does not contain an ordinance.
Okay, let me recognize Mr. Mitch O'Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request that we refer item 5 back to Plum Committee.
Without objection, so ordered. Why don't we, at this time, prepare to vote? Mr. City Attorney.
I would request item 4 be held on the desk. There is a substitute ordinance.
Okay, and I've been informed we want to return item 12 to the Transportation Committee, and the City Attorney has requested that we hold item 4. So let's prepare members to vote on the remaining items. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That brings us where, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, that brings us to items 17 through 27. There are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Do we have cards?
Yes, sir. We have cards on 17, 18, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27. That leaves items 19 and 20 before Council.
Okay, why don't we hold the items with the cards? We will vote on the few remaining items. Let's open the roll.
Pardon me, sir. A card for item 20 has just come in, so that leaves 19.
No, it didn't make it. It's not enough time. No, we'll hold that card as well. So let us vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That brings us where?
Mr. President, items 28 through 32 are items scheduled for closed session. Would you like to hold them on the desk?
I'm going to defer to the chair of Budget and Finance at this point in time. Mr. Krikorian, we need your guidance.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Item 28 should be considered in closed session. Items 29 through 32 have been considered by Budget and Finance, which recommends approval of the City Attorney's recommendations, and that can be done in open session unless members have questions or concerns.
Okay, why don't we hold then? It was 28, and we'll move forward on the other items. Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, items 29 and 30 do have cards. A committee a committee hearing did not satisfy those
Okay,
matters.
so then we'll hold those. Let's go with the items. Mr. Spindler, sit down. Let's go with the items
Very good, sir. For item 31, in the case entitled Via Julieta versus City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend $298,086.01 in settlement. And for item 32, in the case entitled Justin Malone versus City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend $1.4 million in settlement.
Okay, so members, on that item, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That brings us where?
Mr. President, that takes council back to presentations or items called special.
All right. At this time, members, let's begin with the presentation portion of our agenda for today. It's a very special time for us. We're going to be honoring pioneer women throughout the city of Los Angeles. We have with us today our great city attorney has come over to spend time with us. And also present is our great mayor from the city of Los Angeles. So without any further ado, I'm going to defer to Mr. Koretz. We'll start with you, Mr. Koretz. Mr. Koretz, you look very excited today. It looks as though you have someone extremely special that you would like to present to this body and all of the guests that we have with us today. So I can see you bursting at the seams. So with that said, the court is yours.
Well, good morning, colleagues. It is my great pleasure and honor to lead today's celebration of one of our nation's greatest patriots and leaders, United States Senator Barbara Boxer.
Let's give her a round of applause.
Now, before we start, I just want to note that Senator Boxer is on a very tight schedule, so I'd ask everybody that speaks to speak very briefly. Friends and colleagues, I'm deeply pleased and honored that we're joined today on Barbara Boxer Day in the city of Los Angeles by the great Senator Barbara Boxer herself, as well as her husband Stuart and her son Doug and other members of her family and staff and many friends. Senator Boxer has served in the United States Senate since January 1993, but will be retiring in January 2017 at the end of this, her fourth and final term in the Senate. These days, we hear all the time about how Americans across this land are clamoring for strong leadership, willing to take on the establishment no matter what the political risks. Well, right here in California, we've long enjoyed the benefits of that kind of true fighter who does that every day and does it wisely and well. Barbara Boxer has provided us with nonstop leadership, and she's done this with feisty courage and conviction, tenacious grit and principled determination, and also with extraordinary grace, decency, and wisdom. As chair of the Environment and Public Works Committee, she led efforts in passing a bipartisan transportation bill to improve transportation while supporting nearly 3 million jobs nationwide, and spearheaded the effort in the Senate to extend the Highway Trust Fund, protecting 1 million transportation jobs. She secured passage of the Water Resources Development Act, authorizing $1.3 billion for 54 flood control, ecosystem restoration, and navigation projects in California. A champion of quality public education, Senator Boxer wrote landmark legislation establishing the first ever federal funding for after-school programs, and her law now covers 1.6 million children. Senator Boxer has written laws designating more than 1 million acres of California wilderness. She wrote the United States-Israel Enhanced Security Cooperation Act, which President Obama signed into law in July 2012, reaffirming our country's special relationship with Israel and strengthening economic and security cooperation between the two nations. She worked to pass the Violence Against Women Act, and as a leading defender of the women's right to choose, helped lead the floor fight for passage of the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act, and wrote bipartisan legislation to accelerate America's contribution to combat global HIV and AIDS. Truly, Senator Boxer's magnificent achievements run the gamut across a vast spectrum of issues and concerns that matter much to each of us and to this city, state, and nation. I'm sure you all want to speak glowingly about Barbara Boxer's amazing career and legacy. And so to start off, I'm delighted to introduce our esteemed Mayor, Eric Garcetti.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Councilmember Koretz, thank you so much for making this happen here today. To Stuart and Doug, thank you for joining us as we honor your wife and mother. And thank you so much to everybody for taking the time, especially on Pioneer Women's Day, to really talk about a woman who was a pioneer. I first met her in 1994 when my friend Heather was working on her campaign. And I remember just being struck by what an amazingly charismatic person she was. At a time back then, if you rewind, you political junkies, which is most of the folks in this room, all the slogans and logos were very traditional and always red, white, and blue. And here was this bold yellow thing with an X in the middle that changed kind of political graphics forever. There was this sense of kind of insurgency. It was the year of the woman, something that as we honor the pioneer women here today and see a council with just one woman in it, we remember is so important to breathe life into every single day. And we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know if we would win, but we saw somebody who got elected and immediately continued being the fighter that she always has been for this city and for this great state. And I know there's a lot of things that I think, thank goodness you've covered every single legislative thing she did, Paul, because we don't have to restate those. But in two areas, I just want to thank you on behalf of Los Angeles. One is your extraordinary work on the environment. The air that we breathe, the water that we drink, the open space, over 1 million acres of open space that our senator has been able to preserve for our children and our children's children forever is an extraordinary, extraordinary thing. And to look at the way, I mean, that is a legacy that you can be proud of. And convening the Senate Climate Action Task Force, when a lot of people were still climate change deniers, really changed the way that Washington began to look. Not changed enough, unfortunately. We still see folks who, as President Obama said, if you went to a doctor and 99 of them said you had diabetes and one said no, you'd probably listen to those 99. But we still have people who on the environment listen to the one or two scientists who seem to deny it. But you have been the one pushing that forward. Second, I've loved, as mayor, working with you on transportation. Because when this city stepped up and voted to tax itself, to build out lines that are now opening up, like the extension of the Gold Line out to Azusa in just over a month and a half, finally getting to the ocean, Santa Monica, for the first time in 50, 60 years. This was the right woman at the right time, and she not only made sure that that got done, she matched many of those projects dollar for dollar with federal money, not an easy thing to do. So for people who will breathe easier, for people who will move easier, and for people who will know that standing up for progressive values means something, you have been the glue that has connected us for so long. We wish you, because it's well-deserved, a lot of joy in the next phase of your life. And I know that you have said you're going to continue to be active and engaged in this entire state. Count on us to be your collaborators, your co-conspirators, and God bless you for everything you have done. We love Barbara Boxer. Thank you.
And now I'd like to hear from my good friend, our City Attorney, Mike Feuer.
Thank you, Paul. Mr. President, members of the City Council, it's kind of a melancholy moment, actually, to be standing here today. Because on the one hand, we are celebrating the extraordinary career and accomplishments of Senator Boxer. But on the other hand, soon it's a reminder that we're not going to be able to look to Senator Boxer to be our partner in the Capitol. And she has been such an extraordinary partner. We've had a chance to work together on transportation, on the environment, from Aliso Canyon to Alenco here in Los Angeles. We've had a chance to work together combating gun violence. My kids still recall us being honored in San Francisco and for the first time seeing the Boxer box in action. For a member of the Senate who might be the most aptly named member of that chamber, Barbara Boxer has been a fighter for all of us in a way that doesn't just demonstrate tenacity and the force of her will, but it also demonstrates the principle and the integrity that underlies everything that Barbara Boxer has done throughout her career. We've known each other since 1995 and had a chance to work together during all that time. And I have to say, it's one of the most rewarding and important relationships in public service I will ever have. Thank you on behalf of a very grateful community, Barbara.
So sweet.
Now my good friend and City Controller, Ron Galperin.
Good morning, everyone. For many years, Senator Boxer has been a force for meaningful change. She's spoken out and was mentioned here, has worked on so many important issues of the environment, of housing, of women's rights, of transportation, of international affairs. And I was honored a number of years ago to actually represent the senator in a debate between Senate candidate surrogates, though I must say that it was an actually very easy job given her superlative record. So how does one truly encapsulate the work and the legacy of Senator Boxer? Well, as you know, as city controller, I'm really interested in data. So here's what I found. There's actually this great search engine out there that lets you sweep the internet for content and find words associated with another word. In this case, I entered the term Senator Barbara Boxer. So here is what I found in the search engine. Action, leadership, change, strong, responsive, and forceful. Now, that's not just my opinion. That's actually data science. And these descriptions are indeed apt. If my grandmother were alive today, she would admiringly say that Senator Boxer is a woman of incredible chutzpah. That's the Yiddish word for nerve. So Senator Boxer has certainly been an inspiration to me and so many others. By the way, there's another search engine that I checked out, which is Google Trends, which tells you where people are searching from. And interestingly enough, of course, a lot of people in California are searching Barbara Boxer on the internet, but so are people in places like Idaho, New Mexico, Nevada, go figure. And what it tells you is that people all over the country are really interested in the work of Senator Boxer and have been following it, and she's been truly a leader for the nation, not just for California. So she's well known for leading the way for the rest of the nation. You've been at the forefront of so many things over the years. I can't wait to follow online and elsewhere what I know will be your many accomplishments and contributions in the years to come. And what an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ron. And now let's hear from our amazing Senator, Barbara Boxer.
Thank you. Oh, gee. What an honor you have given me, Mr. President, and all the members of the council, Councilman Koretz, for your probably leading this charge. I am so honored today and so excited at the chance to speak to you. Don't worry, I won't filibuster. Just be a few minutes. Just a few minutes.
You can do whatever you like.
Moment. Oh, maybe you have things you really don't want to tackle later. First of all, to be here with members of my family, they couldn't all be here, but to be here with Stuart Boxer, who gave me that name, Boxer. What could be better, Stuart? Thank you. 54 years of marriage later, I am so pleased that you're here. And my wonderful son, and Doug, who some of you know, and to the mayor and to the city attorney and the controller, thank you for this incredible honor. I noticed that there was so much wonderful applause, and then there were a few who really applauded when they realized I'm retiring. And to those few of you, I say, it's been an honor to represent you too. What I want to do is really share this honor with all of you, and I mean it sincerely, And it's not just verbiage, there's a reason behind it, because I'm telling you something you may not be aware of, but so many of my ideas have come from you, from Los Angeles, from this area. And I know way back when I got to the Senate, I only got there because of Anita Hill. So if we're applauding women, could we just take a minute to applaud Anita Hill? There's going to be a premiere of an HBO movie about her story here next week. I intend to be there. And I hope you'll all watch that, because that woman changed history in so many ways. And as you honor, Mr. President, the women of Los Angeles, remember, it took someone like Anita Hill, who had the courage to speak truth to power and led the way for so many of us. But I want to just go through very briefly a few of the issues that we worked on together, some of you and then people who were here before. I will never forget, I got sworn in 93, representing millions and millions and millions of people. And then in January 17th, 1994, the Northridge earthquake hit Los Angeles. It was one of the costliest natural disasters in U.S. history. Destruction everywhere, economic damage everywhere. And at the time, Senator Feinstein and I were brand new in the Senate. And there was an attitude in the Senate. It actually had a name, ABC, anybody but California. That is a fact of life. When Diane and I got to the Senate, there was a view that this is the Golden State and nothing bad happens to us. And we don't have homeless problems, and we don't have other problems, so we don't have social injustice, so we don't have environmental injustice, because we have Hollywood and we have Silicon Valley, and at that time a big defense establishment. People thought we did not deserve or need help. Well, of course, we worked to disprove that false idea. And California at the time, and Los Angeles, of course, we were facing many of the same problems everybody else was. We still do, whether it's deep pockets of poverty, income inequality, environmental injustice, veterans who need our help. But the quake gave us the opportunity to point out that, yes, even the Golden State needed help. And we all worked together, the city, the county, the state, all of us together. And we got $16 billion into this community to repair our roads and our schools and our government buildings and our hospitals and our other facilities. And then when the mayor talks about transportation, how critical that issue is to us here. And I will never forget the fact that when Mayor Villaraigosa was the mayor, he brought together a coalition of city council people, of business people and labor people, Republicans, Democrats, independents, to say we need a better way to leverage local funds. Because, yes, Los Angeles had voted to tax yourself to do certain things, but you needed to build it quicker, not over 30 or 40 years. So we reimagined together the TIFIA program, which was a little small program. And that program enabled us to build 30-year projects over 10 years by coming out with the check early on. No interest, and it worked. And now we see the West Side Purple Line extension, the Regional Connector, the Crenshaw Line. All of this came about because you all came with your ideas to meet with me. I mean it. I'm sincere. I was in the position as chairman of the Public Works Committee then to make it happen. But the idea came from Los Angeles, and I want to share the honor that you are giving me with all of you. Together, we got the Army Corps to commit to partner with us to restore an 11-mile stretch of the Los Angeles River that flows through the city. And Mayor Garcetti has been on this day after day. And you know what's going to happen? We're going to bring the LA River back to life. We'll have jobs created. We'll strengthen our economy, provide incredible recreational opportunities for local residents. And speaking of recreation, thank you for helping me stop offshore oil drilling and other destructive activities off our magnificent coastline, which draws so many tourists and provides so many jobs. And we talked about after school. How did I get to be the one person in the Senate to get that done. It's because I was introduced to LA's Best. When I became a senator, I went straight to LA's Best, and what I saw lifted my spirits. And that program, which serves more than 25,000 kids at 200 elementary schools, when I saw that, I knew I had to take it nationwide, and we did it together. We created that national program, which serves, as Councilman said, more than 1 million kids every single day, and it's because of LA's Best that gave me the idea. So I share this honor with you. The LA Courthouse, we fought together for the $318 million we needed to build that courthouse. The project is creating jobs. It's going to improve safety, security, and efficiency of the court. The construction is almost done, and I want to be there when we finally see it finished. Those are just a few examples, but I do want to touch on environmental justice issues, which were mentioned. The city attorney and I were joined at the hip on this. LA's University Park neighborhood. What happened there were people would come forward and say, we're dizzy, we have headaches, we have nosebleeds from noxious odors from the Alanco oil and gas pumping facility. I called Alanco and I said to them, you have got to clean up your act or shut down. We fought for an investigation, and we made sure that facility remains closed until it has been deemed safe. And again, I want to thank the city attorney for his work on this. It's so important. What we do matters to people's lives. Obamacare. We fought to pass Obamacare and expand community health care centers. Do you know now in Los Angeles County there are 300 community health care centers like Eisner Pediatric and Family Medical Center, AltaMed Health Services, and Bienvenidos Community Health Center. We are helping people, and Los Angeles is leading the way with 300 community health care centers. But there's more work to do. So I do have an announcement to make today that Senator Feinstein and I have asked President Obama to immediately convene a multi-agency task force headed by the Energy Department to address the serious issues related to the gas leak in Aliso Canyon and the Porter Ranch community. I met with the people there. I know how nervous they are about returning to their homes. And what I want to say is, I feel very good about this president. I feel he may well do this. And we will know if it's safe for people, if that plant can operate safely. And we can't rest until people are safe in their homes. We can't. So we're going to keep fighting together. I still have a few good months left. And we're going to work to pass comprehensive immigration reform so our families can come out of the shadows finally. And criminal justice reform. Cory Booker and I have a bill to help us track use of force incidents of violence involving police and the public. And we're going to fight to keep creating clean energy jobs. And I will tell you this, and I'll close with this, the words everyone waits for. And, Senator, in conclusion, while I am not running for re-election, I want you to know that I am not retiring. Sorry for those two people in the audience. Just manage me, Barbara Boxer, with no constraints, unplugged, unfiltered, uncensored. That's what's going to happen. And I'm going to keep on fighting. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to keep on fighting for the causes we believe in. I'm going to keep on fighting side by side with all of you to make life better, because isn't it, after all, our job? Make life better for the people we serve. So I am touched by this honor. I share it with you. Thanks again, and I'll be there for you. Thank you very much.
I imagine our colleagues all have something
That's what
to
I was
say.
going to say.
If I could just ask that they do it as briefly as they can.
Well, I
Thank
appreciate you saying that. Senator, we do want to thank you for spending some quality time with us today. And we also want to thank you for all of the work that you have done and for the work that you're going to do in the future. And if you could afford us a few minutes, I have some members that would like to say a few things.
This is the best day of my life.
All right. Well, we want to make it even better. But anyway, members, like Mr. Koretz said, let's be sensitive to the time of the senator. And I'd like to defer to Mr. O'Farrell at this time.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Boxer, I want to thank you for your exceptional advocacy for the city of Los Angeles in your 4 terms in the U.S. Senate. You've gone above and beyond, and you are a real champion for this region. You've sponsored bills to help the Los Angeles River and, of course, create open space in Southern California and across the state. But I also want to just mention that the reason Anita Hill had the ability to speak truth to power is because of your march to the Senate panel, the all-male Senate panel, who were refusing to let her testify. So that was a seminal moment in the women's movement, and you defined that history. And so I want to thank you for your leadership and you being the ultimate pioneer woman for the state of California and for all Californians. We thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. O'Farrell. And again, members, let's be sensitive to the senator's time. Mr. Bonin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator, thank you so much for everything that you've done. There are 3 things that, of all the many things you've done, didn't get mentioned here today, and I wanted to just single those 3 things out to thank you for them. In 1996, you were one of the few votes against DOMA, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. It's very easy to stand up for what's right once public opinion has changed. You stood up for what was right before it had. Thank you for that. I also want to note, at a time when Washington has spent decades eroding our civil liberties, you took the right vote against the FISA amendments a few years ago, and I want to thank you for standing up for our civil liberties. And the final thing I want to thank you for is a bill that you and Senator Feinstein and Representative Liu have put forth that will allow us to build the housing we need for veterans on the VA property in West LA. I really look forward to you being able to get that bill finished before you leave. Thank you very much for that, and thank you for all you've been doing for veterans and for the homeless.
All right, Mr. Cedillo.
Mr. President, this is going to shock you, but I actually don't know what to say.
Yes, I am shocked.
And as my colleagues are, Senator, I really am speechless. You have been such a giant and an inspiration. I know that you're an inspiration for women, but you've been an inspiration for all men and women. And you have been a stalwart for all the issues that have been important to me, from the driver's license to immigration reform to workers' rights, the environment, Matthew Shepard Act, all these great initiatives. I'll tell you what's hard for me to try to find the words to put together at this moment. You are so iconic. You are an institution. You are the way I think about the Democratic Party and why I'm proud to be a Democrat. You are the person who we count on. You are irreplaceable. And so that's the challenge I have today, is to try to find the words to encapsulate that, because this is a real historic moment. You have a personal right. You have made incredible sacrifices. You have a loving family. You deserve to be home and to spend more time with your family and to do things unencumbered, because the platforms in where we serve sometimes encumber us with their rules and their regulations and their protocols and their decorum and their comity. And you are a servant leader. And so you have that right. You have that personal right But I have to tell you, for us and for me personally, there is a sense of instability that will occur. And it will occur because you have been the bedrock of liberals like myself who want to do what we believe is best for all. And you have shown us a way to do so in a way that is effective and responsible and just. And I can never thank you enough. God bless you.
Ms. Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Senator. I also want to be unfiltered and uncensored and all those wonderful things, but I think there's one very important group of folks that I think we have to continue to advocate for, and you've been a tremendous champion, and it's been left out this morning, and that's human trafficking victims. And what you've done to be a real voice in the Senate for kids who get trafficked in our country every single day, for the U.S. Advisory Council that you established on human trafficking, to look at our federal laws to ensure that victims are being protected and that we're also have the penalties in place to go after these pedophiles and these child molesters who traffic our children. So thank you for being that voice for victims in the Senate. And we're going to miss you because the victims of human trafficking have had a real champion in you in the U.S. Senate. So thank you so much for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give the senator one more large round of applause for all of the work, the service. And again, Senator and Mr. Koretz, I can't believe we made our timeline, and so I feel very excited about that. Mr. Koretz to close.
And I just want to say it's my great honor in recognition of your legacy, and thank you for coming today to join us, to join with the mayor in declaring today Senator Barbara Boxer Day in the city of Los Angeles.
Right.
Certificate that's bigger than you are.
This is so beautiful. I'll just say thank you. So I say goodbye, farewell for the moment. We'll be working together in the future. I'm thrilled. All of your comments touch my heart. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great.
Okay. All right.
And then we're going to take a picture after that at the table.
Welcome on yourselves.
Okay, we're going to take a 2.5-minute recess. Mr. Koretz, let's do a photo at the center table. So members, if everyone could please report to the center table, we're going to take a quick photograph.
You probably can just take a picture. I like it. I mean, I'm smart. I'm not sure, but if we can. Yes, right. Said I was 2 feet taller. Great picture.
Look at the box, though.
The jewelry box. I'll just take that with you. Oh, right on time. It's supposed to be by 10:45.
It never works out like that.
Marie said Nico must be so proud right now.
Would you be so kind?
Sure.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
They were on her desk. She hasn't written on them. They might be some other. There wasn't anything else that she was writing on?
Sergeant of Arms, will you get order on the floor, please? This is the business of the people. We the people. I got some unfinished work, sir. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not taking any photo opportunities that you can beat, send it back Mr. Chair, call order to the floor, please.
Okay. Well, welcome back to our council meeting. I'm going to quickly go to items 17 and 29. Mr. Murphy, please come up as we are clearing the chamber. So where's Sean Murphy? We're going to do items 17 and 29.
Done speaking. That one though, right?
Let Mr. Murphy through.
Would you please remove the barriers?
You're disrupting the meeting. Please, Mr. Herman, do not shout out again. If you do, I will remove you. Mr. Murphy, items 17, and then stay around. You do item 29. Yes, sir.
Item 17, I support.
Thank you, sir. Stay there. Stay there, Sean. On 17, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, we're now on item 29. Yes, sir, Mr. Murphy.
Item 29, I still support.
Thank you so much. On that item, okay, Mr. Clerk, if you'd read that item.
In the case entitled Susan Garr versus City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend $425,000 in settlement.
Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, now, and also, Mr. Clerk, why don't we move to item 20? It's my understanding there are no cards on item 20, so that item is before this body. On item 20, Madam Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Mr. O'Farrell, are you still here? It's my understanding you have an introduction.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, as we get ready for the Pioneer Women's Celebration, I think it's a great time to acknowledge the youth organizers from the Southeast Asian Community Alliance. Please stand.
Welcome.
Mr. President, these outstanding students are residents of the 1st Council District, represented by Gil Cedillo, and the 13th Council District, which I have the great honor of representing. They're here during their spring break to learn about policy making in the city of Los Angeles and to advocate for more affordable housing, good jobs, environmental justice in their very own communities. Colleagues, these are our future leaders, and we thank you for being here at Council Chambers.
And welcome. At this time, I'd like to recognize Ms. Martinez so that we can begin a very important presentation process. And if I could get all our honorees, the Pioneer Women awardees to come up, stand with your or beside your member. Please come forward. We'll give you a few minutes. And again, I don't want to hear any boos or disruption. If I hear it again, I will ask you to be removed as well. So let's respect these women for all of the hard work that they've done in this community. They deserve our respect. And if you disturb this presentation, there will be consequences. With that said, Ms. Martinez, do we have all of the awardees with us?
I think so. Everyone should be next to their council member.
I know I have mine.
Okay. I think we're just about ready. Great. Good morning, colleagues. For the past 26 years, the City Council, along with the Commission on the Status of Women, have recognized women that are changing our city. People think that we have a leadership gap and that we often hear that we don't see enough women in leadership. I believe that there are many capable women out there that are already doing amazing work. Women are leading in so many areas across our city, whether it's in the classroom, in the boardroom, running nonprofits, or local businesses. I truly believe that our city is made up of extraordinary women who are making impacts in areas of our city. During Women's History Month, we as a country acknowledge the outstanding women who help move us forward and influence not only our collective past, but women who are also shaping the future of our country. And today we welcome the Commission on the Status of Women back to City Council chambers as we recognize the Los Angeles pioneer women and honor women who are pioneers in their fields that are impacting their communities. We have recognized a pioneer woman from each district, as well as 2 exceptional women chosen by the Commission on the Status of Women for their contributions in their respective fields. To begin, I'd like to introduce Commission on the Status of Women President Jessica Postigo and Commissioner Pamela Blackwell to introduce 2 incredible women that their organization is recognizing here today. Welcome, Jessica.
Okay, thank you so much. First of all, thank you, Nuri, because you have been such an example to our commission in the tireless work you do, in your patience with us, in your loyalty to us, and you have inspired our work, truly. But also thank you to your staff for all the hard work in this event. Thank you so much. Also, thank you, council members, for helping us through this, for presenting your awardees. And also a special thank you to our newest council members, David Rue and Marquise, who have just jumped right in with the commission, and we really appreciate that. So just a few words on our commission. Our mandate is to advance the general welfare of women and girls in Los Angeles and to ensure that all women have full and equal participation in city government services. One of our proudest achievements in the past year is the gender report that we could have not done without your support. Because of that report, the mayor has issued an executive directive to have equal gender equality in all departments of the city, and that is a first in the United States of America. The CSW will be collaborating this year with the mayor's office, members of the city council, which, mind you, we have met with every single council member in the past 2 months and or their staff, so thank you for opening your doors to us. And we work with citywide elected officials and city departments on issues such as training city departments on indicators of human trafficking, encouraging and directing women into STEM and STEAM roles, investigating and assessing women's experiences with law enforcement, the implementation of the United Nations Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, and alleviating the experiences of homelessness amongst women and their families. We are fortunate to have a city government that is so supportive on women's issues and with whom we can partner in the advance of gender equity. Now, this year marks the 26th annual Pioneer Women's Award celebration. The Pioneer Women Awards honors the contributions of countless individuals who serve the city by advancing the status of women and girls. CSW presents the Pioneer Award to remarkable leaders whose lifelong work has advanced the status of women and girls. The CSW has honored 2 women who have made an impact on our city. First of all, we have Deputy Chief Grimala, Beatrice Grimala, who is a You all know Grimala because if anybody wants anything to get done, they say call Grimala. If I had a quarter for every time somebody said that, I would probably have all my parking meter services paid for the next year at least. So her name is always said. So a 30-year veteran of the Los Angeles Police Department, the top-ranking female in the LAPD. For Grimala, the true meaning of her work is community-based policing. She believes in a combined efforts of city services and law enforcement to battle crime and quality of life issues. This leads to changing LA's landscape in such a positive way. I was raised when I was a child in Spain, and they used to say there's a reason why God gives us 2 ears and 1 mouth, and so we will listen more. And I think that Grimala exemplifies that. She is a true listener, considers every option, and speaks when needed with a very powerful, firm, yet kind and gentle voice. So it is my honor to present Beatrice Grimala with our Pioneer Award. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
My colleague, Commissioner Pamela Bakewell. Thank you.
Thank you. It is my honor to be before you. Thank you, City Council, for having us today. And I am enjoying sitting on the commission. So thank you very much, Mayor, for
We're lucky to have you.
Thank you. I work with you guys anyway all the time. I'm really honored to have nominated and we selected Sharice Bremond Weaver. Sharice is the president of the Brotherhood Crusade. The Brotherhood Crusade is an organization that many of you know has been around for 45 years. It provides critical social and human services through social programs focused on education, health, economic growth, and institution building. Sharice has really been a powerhouse. You talk about big things come in little packages. Well, that's exactly what she is to me. I read her bio. You can read it on Brotherhood Crusade's website. I really wanted to speak from the heart because I've known her most of our lives. We have a lot in common. Number one, I was privileged to hire Sharice when she first came out of college. So I consider myself a mentor of hers, even though we're only 2 years older than each other, a mentor of hers. But she has taken over the helm of an institution that was founded by her father, Walter Bremond, and it was built by what we call the builder, Danny J. Bakewell Sr. So that being her father and Danny being my brother, we have a connection. And most important, we're the women behind all of the scenes, okay? I'm actually a board member of the Brotherhood Crusade also, so it never leaves my heart. We work very, very hard together, fighting for justice in the Los Angeles community, most important in South Los Angeles. But she's been phenomenal. She's been at the helm for 10 years. She has raised over $50 million. She has programs with youth that are just phenomenal. And for any of you who do not know anything about Sharice, you really do need to get to know this lady. She's worthwhile knowing. She's worthwhile investing in. And I am really privileged to call her my friend and my colleague, Sharice Bremond Weaver. One more. Okay.
Well, thank you very much to the Commission on the Status of Women for these wonderful presentations. We're now going to move on to the presentations from each individual council member. But I would like to take a moment to introduce my woman, my pioneer woman, who is exceptional and is doing an amazing job in my district. If I can please have her come up. Sierra Payton. You're about to make me I feel so short next to you. Sierra Payne is an actress, a writer, who's currently working in my district. As a creator and executive director of the Michael's Daughters Project, a theater program geared towards at-risk youth in the Panorama City area, particularly on Blythe Street through Casa Esperanza. As many of you know, Blythe Street was one of the first gang injunctions in the city of Los Angeles. And let me tell you, this is one of the neediest parts of my district, and I'm so happy that these types of programs are available for kids in my neighborhoods. This 5-week program has been running for the past 2 summers, and she works with youth to teach them about theater arts and creating stories and hopefully developing these stories into actual plays. The students not only learn about how to work in a team, but they're using their creative minds and to identify ideas and draft their plays and be able to express what they're feeling and living on Blythe Street. And to be able to do this through the arts is incredible. And she's also inspired. She's inspired by the fact that she comes from a community very similar to the Blythe Street in Panorama City, but she's also helping some of these kids lend their voices to be able to come up with solutions. She's inspired by her students' bravery and resilience. Sierra challenged herself by writing her very own play about her life, which she calls the Michael's Daughter. And it's something that she's performing in Venice, as a matter of fact, Mr. Bonin. She just had a performance there. And she details the story about growing up in New Orleans and what it's like to live the life of a struggling and inspiring actor. And she tells these stories through her correspondence with her dad, who was in jail for many, many years. So I'd like to thank the Department of Cultural Affairs for funding the Michael's Daughter Project through the Artist in Residence program. That without this program, I don't think these kids would have an opportunity to be able to voice their experiences through the arts. So I'm so proud not only of my friend Sierra, not only is she gorgeous, but she's doing amazing things with kids, and I'm very proud of our work together. So let's give her a big round of applause, and let's continue to inspire. Let's continue to inspire our young people and our young minds to be able to do anything they set their minds to. Thank you very much, Sierra, and to the Michael's Daughters Project. We're going to go in the back after we're all done. Okay. So don't leave. Okay. Thank you. And we can start to my left. I'm sorry. Mr. Weezer. I expected to see Mr. Weezer in the chair. That's from Council District 14, sir.
Yes, Madam President. And when you do this, it's a great thing that you do every year, and you've really elevated our ability to highlight some of the great women leaders in the city, and thank you so much for that. And I'm really excited today to present one of those great women leaders in Council District 14 in Northeast Los Angeles. Monica Alcaraz, we are naming her the 2016 Pioneer Woman of the Year. She's an extraordinary woman who I've had the pleasure to get to know as a council member. She was born and raised in Highland Park, attended Aldama Elementary, Luther Burbank Middle School, and Franklin High School. She is the proud mother of 2 beautiful children, Leonardo and Noelani. Is that correct? Noelani? Today, she is the Northeast Regional CES Coordinator for SPA 4, tirelessly working to connect persons experiencing homelessness with services and housing. And she certainly takes that job very seriously. She's out there, rain or shine, day or night, at all hours of the day, even beyond the regular work hours, and we really appreciate that. She continues her work during her volunteer hours with Recycled Resources for the Homeless and as a member of the Northeast LA Homeless Coalition, and organized the 2015 and 2016 homeless counts in Highland Park. As we all know, homelessness is affecting all parts of the city these days, and in Northeast Los Angeles, with the influx and of new homeless and people who need assistance, she has taken it upon herself to really help out those in need. During the 2015-2016 winter season, she was instrumental in bringing the first and only temporary winter shelter and access center to Northeast Los Angeles, and we thank you for that. Since 2012, she has served as president of the historic Highland Park Neighborhood Council. Through her drive, leadership, and commitment to her community, she has accomplished community improvement projects, produced community events, and been a staunch advocate for Highland Park. Certainly one of the proud products of Highland Park and someone who is very proud to be from Highland Park. It is also where she found her calling to start assisting the local homeless population in Highland Park. She was awarded the Neighborhood Spirit Award in 2015 by the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment for excellence in elevating the reach of the Neighborhood Council's social media. Her efforts in social media have taken the historic Highland Park Neighborhood Council to new levels of engagement. Neighbors regularly converse about the local issues of the day on social media, whether it be crime, a new business opening, or an upcoming community event. I actually participated in a question and answer session that the Neighborhood Council sponsored, mostly produced by Monica, where the community members had an opportunity to ask their local council member questions on Facebook about the community. It was a great event. She was also awarded the Highland Park Independent Film Festival Humanitarian of the Year Award in 2015 in light of her promotion of independent cinema in Highland Park by enabling the Highland Park Independent Film Youth Programming in filmmaking at Franklin High School. She also volunteers with numerous other worthy organizations in the Northeast, including Friends of the Southwest Museum, the Northeast LA Veterans Day Parade, one of the largest Veterans Day parades in the city of Los Angeles, Draw Northeast LA, and Play Music on the Porch Day. Monica is truly everywhere in Highland Park. When I dropped by the winter homeless shelter, she was there. When we hosted the El Mercado Community Block Party celebrating the opening York Park, she was there. And anytime there is a community cleanup, she is there, bringing with her countless other friends and neighbors and volunteers along with her. As you can see, Monica is a tireless and courageous community advocate. She is a candid, kind-hearted, and bold, and she is toughest. She is the toughest advocate any community could ask for. Please join me in giving Monica Alcaraz a huge round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Huizar.
That was so nice. I didn't know it was like that.
Mr. Koretz?
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like today to recognize our CD5 pioneer woman, Nikki Miner, who's a tremendous community leader, civic activist, and a longtime volunteer. She's devoted to the preservation of open space, enhancing the quality of life in Los Angeles neighborhoods, advocating for police and fire services, and for protection of wildlife, and creating strong relationships between community and government. And she's been a terrific liaison between the community and City Hall for over 30 years. She was born in Chicago, and when she came here at age 5, that night she experienced her first earthquake. But her confidence in Los Angeles was never shaken. She's a UCLA graduate. After graduating, she taught school, became very involved in the PTA, the Girl Scouts, and as an LAPD booster. She also worked as a probation counselor at an LA City juvenile hall facility, helping teenage delinquent girls with serious mental and emotional problems. But most notably, she raised her family in Benedict Canyon and has made it her life's work maintaining the natural environment of the canyon and protecting wildlife and nature from extinction. Her volunteer work began with the Benedict Canyon Association and Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy decades ago. She founded the Land Use Committee of the BCA. She was a 5-term president. She was also the long-term editor of its widely respected newsletter, and she often galvanizes the community, most recently to save 100-year-old canopy trees. As vice president and longtime planning and land use committee member of the Bel Air Beverly Crest Neighborhood Council, and as a rep to the Hillside Federation, she's been instrumental in wildlife and hillside and open space preservation issues in diverse neighborhoods from Laurel Canyon to the 405. Along with others in the BCA, she worked in conjunction with my office and the Planning Department to establish the Hillside Ordinance, the Baseline Mansionization Ordinance, and the Retaining Wall Ordinance, and is currently partnering on a much-needed Ridgeline Ordinance. Somehow she also finds the time to serve on the West LA Police Department Community Advisory Board representing Benedict Canyon, and tirelessly attends meetings in West Los Angeles dealing with crime and traffic. And so despite serving 2 bouts with cancer, Ms. Miner's work has never slowed down. Her perseverance, courage, and tenacity has been instrumental, and she is truly a pioneer woman in the city of Los Angeles. So we thank you for all our good work.
Thank you, Mr. Koretz. Mr. Krikorian?
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Martinez, and thank you for bringing us together again with this opportunity to celebrate some of the extraordinary leaders and activists of our city. And I'm so honored to be able to recognize as one of those leaders, my friend of 25 years, someone known to many of you, Lori Safian, as our Pioneer Woman of 2016 in Council District 2. Lori comes from a family of strong women. Her mom, Lois, and her sister, Samara, who could not be with us today, are known to many of you for the work that they've done in democratic politics and in a whole range of important causes that matter to this city. Lori has, in the entire time I've known her, been one of those people who, often without fanfare and without recognition, has been one of the most effective leaders in getting things done that are worthwhile. One of the most notable ones is her commitment to women against gun violence. Throughout the 20-plus years that I've had the privilege of being on the Board of Advisors of Women Against Gun Violence, Lori has been one of their most effective spokespeople and served as the president of the board until just recently. And in that role, she was instrumental not only in creating the Talks project, which gives people families the ability and tools to be able to talk about gun violence with their neighbors and with people in their community so that they know that their children are going to be safe when they go and visit people. She was also instrumental in the passage of this city's landmark legislation on child protection and in banning high-capacity magazines, which are setting the standard now for the rest of the country, and I can't say enough how much I appreciate her leadership role in that. But that hasn't been enough for her to keep busy. She also serves now as president of LA Shares, which many of you know is one of the most important and little-known environmental enterprises that we have in this city, taking millions and millions of dollars worth of equipment and that would otherwise go into our landfills and managing to find its way to service of nonprofits and other worthy endeavors throughout the city. So she's serving those nonprofits and also serving our environment at the same time. And in her spare time, she serves on the board of directors of Children's Community School in Van Nuys, where her son Noah is just finishing up his education. And so when it comes to violence prevention, protecting our environment, promoting education, Lori has really been a champion and an advocate, and it's just a thrill and an honor for me to be able to recognize her and really to thank her for these many, many years of leadership and advocacy she's shown to our city and for her long years of friendship with me. Lori, congratulations and thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Krikorian.
To the right.
And we're going to move on to Mr. O'Farrell.
Good job, Noah.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. It gives me great pleasure to honor my friend Socorro Callejas as the pioneer woman for the 13th Council District. Socorro moved to Hollywood in 1992, wanting to provide her family a safe and clean neighborhood to grow up in. She joined the Yucca Residents Group, a group of women that engaged in cleaning the community of drugs, prostitution, graffiti, and gangs. In her capacity as member of the Yucca Residents Group, they partnered with the Metropolitan Alliance to provide the community with training seminars on healthcare assistance, low-income housing, and education services. In 2002, with the help of then Assemblywoman Jackie Goldberg, then Councilmember Eric Garcetti, and Councilmember Tom LaBonge, they established the Yucca Park Community Center, which provides computer classes, art, music, dance, and especially sports to keep our children away from the streets and gangs. And to this day, Socorro volunteers for the center. In 2005, seeing the need for affordable housing and that many of her neighbors could not afford the high cost of apartments, she became involved with the Hollywood Interfaith Sponsoring Committee, the HISC, a group that negotiated the Hollywood and Vine Mixed-Use Development Project Community Benefits Agreement. An agreement 3 years in the making, which managed to secure 79 low-income units at the W Hollywood Hotel, which provided local residents with on-the-job training and better salaries. Socorro's involvements include participating in various committees at Selma Elementary School, volunteering at the Hollywood Housing Corporation's Food Bank, which provides food for over 400 families in the community, assisting with workshops at Hollywood High School's Padres Promotores de la Educación, or Parents Promoting Education, which aims to educate parents on helping students reach the goal of going to college. Last year, Socorro was acknowledged by the Los Angeles Board of Education for her 18 years of volunteer service to the community. Socorro's energy, passion, and professionalism has enabled her to take on many projects which have been of tremendous benefit to the community, families, and children of the city of Los Angeles. Socorro is joined today by her husband, Adrian Barrera, the expert photographer right here, busy working, and then Adrian Barrera Jr., her son, Veronica Barrera, her daughter, and her good friend, Maria Luisa Guzman. And it is with great pleasure that I provide this honor with one of my mentors, Socorro Callejas. Congratulations, Socorro.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. O'Farrell. Mr. Price?
Thank you, Councilwoman Martinez, and I appreciate your leadership and that of the Commission on the Status of Women for giving us an opportunity to recognize a group of extraordinary women who are making a real difference in our community. We have the honor of recognizing another Barbara this morning, Barbara Torres. Barbara has worked at the LA Unified School District since the age of 14. She became a student worker at the age of 18, and then a teacher's assistant, working her way to special education assistant. She currently works at LA Academy Middle School in the New Ninth. Barbara has been an active member and currently serves as president of one of the most powerful unions in the LA Unified School District, SEIU 99. As the first Latina president and the youngest, becoming president at the age of 33, Barbara represents nearly 45,000 employees in public and non-public organizations in early education, child care, K through 12, and the community colleges. Prior to becoming president, she was an active member on the executive board. Despite her young age, she brings years of experience in working to improve the lives of SEIU local members. In 2007, she helped to secure health care benefits for 2,300 LA Unified School District cafeteria workers. She was also instrumental in reaching collective bargaining agreements on behalf of 30,000 employees, which raised the minimum wage for all of her members to $15 an hour by July 1, 2016. as well as securing a 6.5 wage increase for those making over $15 an hour. Under her leadership, and with the help of her executive board, they've worked to ensure that the union keeps its consistent and extensive track record of successfully running strategic organizing campaigns, forming alliances with community and political allies, and partnering with other unions to build workers' strength. Barbara has been a lifelong Democrat. She's been a champion for working people all of her life through various political campaigns, actions, and is a strong believer in grassroots organizing. Barbara is a strong, dedicated young woman who has made it her mission to improve the lives of others, including her members. She credits her strength of never giving up and helping others, and on being a fighter for social change, to her mother. And she believes that people must be the change they wish to see in the world. And so we are honored and excited and privileged to present Barbara Torres as our pioneer woman in the new 90s. In fact, so outstanding, she's got 2 bouquets.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Price. We're going to move on to Mr. Rue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is a pleasure to introduce Council District 4's Pioneer Woman of the Year. It's someone who was instrumental to my success, and that's Cindy Shavato. She's joined here today by her husband, John Keene, and Cindy Shavato is a mother, a loving wife, famed Hollywood producer, her most recent work being the original first CSI. But in the community, she's regarded to as the go-to person. She's a long-time, dedicated community activist and member of the Hancock Park Homeowners Association, one of the oldest, most well-preserved, and quite frankly, one of the most recognized neighborhoods in Los Angeles. Cindy serves currently as the Homeowners Association's board president. She has a distinguished list of accomplishments and services in the community. She's co-chair and block captain of the Neighborhood Watch, Historic Preservation, and Land Use Committees. She also co-founded the Hancock Park Historic Preservation Advocacy Group and was a key player in the process that culminated in the establishment of the HPOZ for Hancock Park. She's also a founding member of the Greater Wilshire Neighborhood Council and currently serves as the vice president and has served as vice president for 3 terms. She also serves on the Greater Wilshire Neighborhood Council Transportation and Traffic Committee. And lastly, she serves as one of the founding members of my Council District 4 Discretionary Funds Task Force. And as a matter of fact, the Discretionary Funds Task Force was developed out of the many ideas that we shared during the campaign from Cindy. She, as I, strongly believe in community building consensus on citywide issues, and preserving residential neighborhoods. It's my pleasure to introduce and honor Council District 4's Pioneer Woman of the Year, Cindy Shavato.
Thank you, Mr. Rue. We're going to move on to Mr. President Wesson.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez, and I want to thank you. Get a little closer. You sit down. You sit down. I think it's important. First of all, let me just say this to our friends in the back. These are very important women that have contributed a great deal to the city of Los Angeles. You will respect them today, or you will not be in the council chambers. So I want to make that crystal clear. Now, I also want to thank I want to give a big shout out to Ms. Martinez for taking this important day and making it even more important. Give Ms. Martinez a round of applause. And I would like to salute all of the honorees or awardees for today. Each and every one of you deserve this and more. We are taking our time today with acknowledging you because it's very important that we do so and that we show you the respect by affording the members the opportunity to say or talk about the many great things that you've done. It is my great honor to stand before you today and to present Regina Jones. Who is more than just the pioneer woman for Council District 10. She is a pioneer woman for the great city of Los Angeles, and maybe greater than that. She brings with her her own posse. I'd like for all of her sons, all of her children stand up. All of her children, Herman, sit down. All of her sons sit up, stand up. Give them a round of applause. All of her grandchildren. And all of the people that came down here with her today, all of you stand up so that we can recognize you. Miss Jones is currently the president of the Country Club Homeowners Association. She alleges she is the interim president, but we will not let her stop. We will not let her resign. She is one of the grandchildren of the Nickerson family that William Nickerson started Golden State Mutual Insurance, one of the largest African-American insurance companies and one of the first. Nickerson Gardens, located in Mr. Buscaino's district, is named after her family. When she moved to the community that I live in and I represent in 1966, she moved to an area that had housing covenants that didn't even allow black people to live in those areas. But she did it and helped integrate that area. She gave me a list of things that she views as memorable things, one of which was she, with LAPD, took the police call that said officer down during the Watts riots. It was that phone call that inspired Regina and her husband to start a magazine that many of us remember called the Soul Magazine. It existed from in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. Another thing, though, that I have to mention as some of your memorable things, and I could talk about you all day, so I'm going to cut it short in fairness to everybody else. But she listed some memorable things, one of which would be her lunch with Rosa Parks, the opportunity that she got to meet the great Congresswoman from Texas, Barbara Jordan, that she handled the publicity for the NAACP Image Awards for over 13 years, and that she herself won the Image Award for Outstanding Business Woman. And also, for those of you that have been around the block, let's say if we're 50 plus, she was also kissed on the right cheek by Cary Grant, one of the original ladies' men in cinema. I can't say enough about the work that Ms. Jones has done in the community. The Soul magazine that she created dealt specifically with black entertainers, musicians and actors, but they partnered with an African-American radio station called KGFJ. And they hosted a big event called Soul Search, which was a talent contest in the city of Los Angeles. They had over 600 people participated in order to receive this award as being the #1 entertainer in the city of Los Angeles. And the reason why this was so important to me, out of 600 people, I came in number 5 as the funniest comedian to ever participate in that program. Ladies and gentlemen, Regina Jones. Oops, I'm sorry. If her family can kind of move around the side, we're going to go in the back for photos.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I believe standing in for Mr. Blumenfield is Mr. Fuentes.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Colleagues, Mr. Blumenfield could not be with us today, and he sends his regrets. But it's my honor today to introduce to you Michelle Miranda, the CD3's Pioneer Woman of Council District 3. She is a former teacher, school principal, and administrator. But I think even more important, what she has accomplished in the San Fernando Valley, but in particular Council District 3, she's also the founder of the Alliance for Community Empowerment, which has dedicated over 20 years of services to, I think, one of our more important investments in the city, and that's young people. The Alliance helps disenfranchised young people transform their lives through leadership, development, education, and civic engagement. The Alliance operates the West Valley's only Youth Build program and gang reduction youth development program. Through strategic collaborations, the Alliance provides high school education, valuable job training, leadership development, and supportive services for youth that come from high-risk environments. Watching youth become self-empowered, realizing not just their dreams, but the dreams of a community is what Ms. Miranda has been striving to make sure happens, not just in her corner of the world, but in all of Los Angeles. And for that, we're grateful for the investment that she has personally made as an educator, administrator, but as a community leader. So please give Michelle Miranda a big round of applause. It's our honor to call you the Pioneer Woman of Council District 3. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Fuentes, on behalf of Mr. Blumenfield and Mr. Bonnet.
Thank you. Here, why don't you step a little closer to me? Ms. Martinez, thank you for reviving this tradition. Thank you for elevating this tradition. And thank you to the Commission on the Status of Women. And thanks and congratulations to all the honorees. I want to give a shout out to my friend, Chief Gurmala. I'm very lucky to have her overseeing Operations West Bureau, which includes my area. Congrats to her. But I want to spend a few moments today talking about my honoree. It's my great pleasure today to recognize Dr. Michelle Cooley Strickland. She's a resident of Playa del Rey, a community activist in the Westchester Playa area, and someone who has an incredibly extensive CV, an incredibly long resume with a number of accomplishments and bullet points, and there's a common thread to all of them, and that's that her life's work is focused upon improving the lives of children. with a particular emphasis on young women. Dr. Cooley Strickland is a community-based clinical child researcher, a teacher, and as I said, a community leader. And she's invested not only in making her own neighborhood a better place, but in all of Los Angeles. Her impressive list of professional accomplishments and research is staggering. She's a licensed child psychologist who joined the UCLA faculty in 2009. She's a research psychologist in this is a long name here, in the Center for Culture and Health in the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences at the David Geffen School of Medicine, at the MPI Semel Institute for Neuroscience and Human Development at UCLA. She's an associate professor, an adjunct associate professor, in another long name, in the Department of Mental Health, Bloomberg School of Public Health at the Johns Hopkins University. She has been a principal investigator of grants funded by the National Institute of Mental Health, and her work has really focused on studying the emotional and behavioral outcomes of young people who are exposed to community violence. As a result of all of her professional accomplishments and all of her work, she has appeared as an expert psychologist on Oprah, on CNN, on KTLA, and on many other outlets. She's also, and I can attest to this personally, a leader in the community. And her work as a community activist really focuses, as I said, on education and on children. She recently, the past couple of years, got involved with the Neighborhood Council of Westchester and Playa. And in that role, she revitalized the Education Committee of the Neighborhood Council, which had not met in a couple of years. She brought it back to life and made it a true force in the community. She's active with the LAX Coastal Chambers Education Committee, with the Venice High School's Comprehensive Modernization Project Advisory Group, with LAUSD's Westchester, Playa del Rey, Playa Vista Instructional Pathways Collaborative Work Group, and also works on the SoCal Gas Company's Community Westside Advisory Council. Now, in addition to all of that, she's raising two daughters with her husband Tony in Playa del Rey, and she is one of those amazing supermoms who seems to be doing everything that her kids are involved in. She has been involved in the AYSO of Westchester, in Westchester Lacrosse, and in the Westchester Girl Scouts. Her kids went to the Westchester Neighborhood School, and when there, she was a Westchester Neighborhood School room parent for nearly 10 years, then a Westchester Neighborhood School parent board member, and held an executive position as the director of the Grade Level Ambassador Program. She's volunteered at Marymount High School as a parent ambassador since 2014, and since 2013 she has regularly volunteered as a Sunday school teacher as well. So she does it 7 days a week, and she's absolutely phenomenal. She's really a pioneer for women and girls everywhere, and it's an incredible privilege for me to be honoring her today with this plaque and these flowers.
Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you.
Let me move the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Bonner and Mr. Cedillo.
First, Nuri, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Martinez. First of all, thank you for doing this. It is needed. The lack of participation of women on the council is embarrassing, and clearly there's a pool of talent for someone of you here to run for office and to become a future council person. So know that all of you, when you take the awards from us today, that this is the expectation that we have for you. Obviously, we have some commissioners with us today who seem very well poised also. You'll work less hours, you'll get paid more money, and you'll like it. I'll just say that. Thank you. I want to, first of all, and then Monica and Jose, thank you, Jose, for honoring someone who is very prominent in the 1st District, comes from the 1st District. Monica and I were there on Sunday. We opened, I think it's the first or the newest shelter since we declared the emergency. And we were there. It's been a great success. We want to build on it. And Monica's just tenacious. I mean, that's what makes leadership, is to have a focus, have a singular focus, and then to do the follow-up. So, Monica, it was great to see you Saturday. It's always great to see your daughter. It's amazing. That's one thing that wasn't mentioned, is that she's everywhere, but she's also there with her family. And she brings her daughter with her all the time, and it's fun to watch her daughter grow up as we do this. Let me talk about Jennifer Virgin, who I got to meet actually when I was campaigning in the 1st District. I got to meet her and her husband, Eddie White, who was the founder of the, what's it called, Rampart?
Westlake North, I believe.
Yeah, I call it Rampart. Westlake Neighborhood Council. And, you know, we lost Eddie about a year and a half ago. 2 years?
What, 2 years?
2 years, yeah. But Jennifer is just like, has not skipped a beat. There's a lot of details in here. But she works with Anna, and, you know, it's one of the areas that's most challenged in the city of Los Angeles. But we have tremendous confidence in her work at Rampart Station is incredible. And so it's an area that if you just go from the news, you go from the, you know, veneer of it, you think, wow, that's a really tough neighborhood. But when you drill down a little bit and you see leaders like Jennifer, then you see, wow, that's a really great place to live. It might have density. It might not have all the economics that we would like, but it really is a neighborhood. And you ought to see some of the events that we have. It's really noteworthy when we have those cookouts in front of the station, in front of Rampart. It's a real pleasant place. I thought it was going to be very challenging, but with her leadership, she's president of the neighborhood council. I know President Weston would like that she has an annual pet health event. She does the community health and resource fair. We do the summer movies there at the park. We do the holiday giveaways. We're constantly doing part of our cleanups there. And then we do the Mother and Father Day luncheons, and then we have these picnics out in front of Rampart. So I can't stress enough how central she is. You know, she's one of those icons of a community, and you know, the Horseshoe is filled with them today. Icons who people look to bring stability to their neighborhood and to bring leadership. And so I'm very flattered and honored and pleased, and I know Eddie is looking down on us, pleased to honor her as a pioneer today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. And we're back in the valley, Mr. Englander.
Yes, back in the valley. Well, first of all, this is by far our longest presentation of the year every year, for good reason. For good reason. Because we're recognizing not just the pioneer women, but the true leaders in our communities. And I have a special treat and an opportunity to work with somebody who is just beyond incredible and phenomenal. And that's Paula. Paula Kratium's here. Stand up. So I don't need, my staff did a great job of preparing a lot of talking notes for me, and I don't need any of them. I'm just going to speak from the heart. And I will tell you that she is unbelievable. Paula is the president of the Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council. And for those of you who have not been asleep for the last 5 months, know full well that you can't open a newspaper, you can't turn on a television channel, you can't go on the internet, on any social media network or blog without seeing Paula as a champion fighting for the community with the Porter Ranch Gas Leak. Not only that, we put together, she's my go-to person on everything. We're on speed dial, trying to always figure out whether it's early in the morning or late at night, what our next step is. What are we going to do to help the nearly 20,000 people that were relocated? And we established the Community Advisory Council, and I appointed Paula to that as the chair as well. That meets every single week. It's webcast with 18 homeowner association members, 4 neighborhood councils, all the regulatory agencies, and it goes on. And she's the champion on that too. If that's not enough, she puts together every single year for Shepherd the Hills Church, one of the largest churches in Los Angeles, the largest gathering for the 4th of July fireworks spectacular in the city of LA that gets roughly 50,000 people every year. 50,000 people. And that's not enough. She actually converted the church into and partnered with the Red Cross into an evacuation center. So during the fires, we have a place to go to be safe. And not only did getting all that approved, we actually had to put it in place a few years ago during the Cessnon fires. And I was there, and Paula was there. And she goes big on everything. It's not even like, well, we're going to create a shelter. She had all the food catered in for thousands of people from all the local restaurants. I mean, you walked in, and it wasn't just cold cuts and sandwiches. She had California Pizza Kitchen come in. She had, you name every restaurant, and they set up these tables, and then she was going over to Walmart, Target, and everything, and getting all kinds of people to bring things in for everybody. Toys for the kids. I mean, just no stone goes unturned. She's remarkable. She's beyond a pioneer woman. She's a true champion. And I consider her family because I love Paula and what she does, and to always keep calm, to always maintain composure, to always just share the facts and not editorialize everything. And we're talking about times of major crises. I try to take one from her playbook as often as I can and learn from her because she has a lot to teach everyone and all of us. So from my heart to yours, you are absolutely, by far, my woman of the year.
Thank you, Freddie. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Englander. And continuing to the northeast of the valley, Mr. Fuentes.
Thank you, colleagues. It's my honor, colleagues, to introduce to you Dr. Keita Curry. She's my pioneer woman for Council District 7. And like Mr. Englander mentioned, her leadership really transcends district boundaries. She is a real leader. And let me share with you what Dr. Curry has accomplished. She is the CEO of the D.D. Hirsch Mental Health Services and has been at the helm of the organization since 1999. Under her guidance, the agency's services have more than doubled. Dr. Curry brings personal and professional experience to the management of D.D. Hirsch. She understands the struggles of families that deal with suicide and severe bipolar disorder. She's a passionate advocate. She has testified before the California State Legislature and served on state advisory committees on suicide prevention and stigma and discrimination. D.D. Hirsch's Via Avanta in Pacoima, the only facility in the San Fernando Valley, has been a haven for women struggling with mental disorders, substance abuse, mental illness, domestic violence, and poverty. They heal in an environment of safety, respect, and dignity. It was among the nation's first programs to recognize the importance of keeping families intact during this critical service delivery, keeping parents and children together, mothers and their children together. Real leader in her field. While learning to manage their illnesses, they build interpersonal and life skills through all kinds of communal activities that not just help the parent, the mother in this case, but also the children. And they also do that by reaching out and trying to continue the residents' approach of this service delivery. We, as I mentioned a second ago, acknowledge how great Dr. Curry is, and clearly all of the honorees today are amazing. But Dr. Curry is really revolutionary in the service delivery that she's doing for this very, very critical community. But to do it the way that she does, with the sensitivity, it's my absolute honor to have you be our Pioneer Woman of the Day. Give her a big round of applause. Pioneer Woman of the Year.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
And let's do that. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Fuentes. And to close our program, Mr. Harris Dawson.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Martinez, and thank you for helping lead this beautiful celebration this morning. This is, in my short time on the council, one of the most amazing things I've been able to be a part of. And I just want everybody in the audience to give a big round of applause to all the members. The care and love that they put into these presentations this morning has just been amazing. I've been inspired to be an Angelino, and I'm excited about the future because of the women that we've seen today. This being Women's History Month, we're proud to have the Pioneer Women Celebration. These are the people who help keep our communities intact. In the 8th District, we are proud to honor Leticia Barajas. She is the Vice President of Academic Affairs and Workforce Development at Los Angeles Trade Technical College in the new 9th, but that serves all of Los Angeles. Let's give her a big round of applause. In addition to implementing, organizing, and administering instructional programs, Ms. Barajas supervises the deans of all academic areas and provides dynamic leadership for a number of campus-wide initiatives, such as the Pathways to Academic Career and Transfer Success Models, LA Trade Tech's innovative student success initiative that has been recognized all over the country. I think it's important to note that LA Trade Tech is one of the only programs, I think, in the country that has had a visit from the Secretary of Labor, the Secretary of Transportation, and the President of the United States 2 times. And it's because of the remarkable workforce development work that they do there, where Ms. Barajas is a leader. She's also a champion for at-risk youth, for women, for displaced workers, for folks who are transitioning out of places like D.D. Hirsch and other institutions, or out of domestic violence situations that need to move into the workforce or perhaps into higher-paying jobs. She is also, and I'm very proud, a daughter, a sister, and a mother of the 8th Council District. She went to Manchester Elementary School, walking distance from our district office. Her mom, who is here today, her mother and father were married at St. Michael's on Manchester. She was baptized there, went to Laces in the 10th District, and took advantage of Southwest College, and has just been, I think, what represents what we call the Phoenix out of South Los Angeles. Living right in the neighborhood, when you turned on the TV in 1992 and you saw the big giant fires, those were in the Vermont Manchester neighborhood. And that was in her neighborhood, and her mother and sister and 2 children are here. You all should stand up. Stand up. I want everybody to see you. Her mother, Angelina, her sister, Blanca, and her daughters, Maya and Isabel. Well, a lot of people picked up and said, we're so discouraged, we're going to give up, we're going to move. And this family didn't do that. They stayed, they invested, and she continues to invest to this day. And person by person, family by family, LA Trade Tech plays the leading role in getting people into the workforce and turning our community into a place from high unemployment to high employment with good jobs and good careers, and where folks can lead good families and good lives. So again, thank you for all of your service, and thank you for what you will do in the years to come. 8th District Pioneer Woman of the Year, Leticia Barajas.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And that concludes our presentation for our Pioneer Women this year. I want to thank all of our friends at the Commission of the Status of Women. If they can please stand up. Thank them for leading the way and recognizing extraordinary women in Los Angeles. And thank you, colleagues, for recognizing an extraordinary woman in your council district. I sincerely appreciate the time. Mr. President, I try to limit it to a minute each, but as you know,
No, you did the best
I cannot, there's only so much I can do.
This
There you have it. Thank you very much, colleagues.
Miss Martinez, this was the best Pioneer Women Awards that I've been a part of. So let's give Nuri another round of applause. And Miss Martinez, it's of such importance that we shouldn't even be concerned about the time with this one. So let us go back to our agenda. Mr. Cedillo. Oh, Mr. Cedillo.
Podium. For the teacher and the principal.
The floor is yours, Mr. Cedillo.
Mr. President, thank you. What an incredible morning we've had, acknowledging tremendous, tremendous work and leadership in the city. It's just been an incredible morning, and so obviously all of us are moved. I want to take a moment to talk about my district, leadership in my district, and one of the most extraordinary young men that I've met and who will be, without a doubt, one of the most important leaders of our city, our region, our state, and our nation. First of all, let me talk about Lincoln High School. You know, I grew up in Borough Heights, and Lincoln High School was kind of up the street. And, you know, we're kind of schools from the east side and the northeast side. We don't get a lot of attention, but I have to tell you, since I've been there, and it's just coincidental. I don't think there's a causal relationship. But just in the last year, let me tell you about Lincoln High School. We've won the city CIF Division II baseball championship. And you remember we brought these young men in here. In addition, one of our students placed third. And I know you were very excited when you were on those Soul Awards. But this young man placed third out of 2,883
wow.
Student films. This was on C-SPAN. We also just recently won, and we should be bringing them in soon, the Lincoln High School won the City CIF Division III Basketball Championship. And so this is a place where we have a rich tradition in sports. Some of our alumni have gone on to play for the Dodgers. This is the home of Kenny Washington. And so there's a rich tradition of sports there. But there's also a emerging rich tradition as it relates to academics. And so we're here today to talk about a young man, Cedric Argueta, who is one of 302,531 students to take the AP Calculus AB exam, and was one of only 12 in the world to score a 5, earning every single point possible.
Wow.
I'm so proud of him because, you know, I have a nephew who's like him. He's at Princeton right now, and he's doing a great job. And and I was asking him if he was going to go to Princeton. He's going to go to Caltech.
Wonderful.
Or Stanford. I got it. Or Stanford. You know, Congressman Becerra is like leaning on him to go to Stanford. If you're still open, I'll push UCLA. Don't worry. It's just amazing. Him, his family, his mom and dad are here. What a consummate Los Angeles story. What a consummate American story. Here you have his father comes from El Salvador. His mother comes from the Philippines. They end up in Lincoln Heights. They work as he volunteers at a nursing home. He follows not just does he, the realization of their dreams, their hopes and aspirations, but he embodies their work ethic. He volunteers in other programs. I mean, besides his academics, he's also a volunteer and he's very active in school. And so it's just amazing to have him here. Now he's representing us. I mean, he gets more press than us, just so you guys can appreciate him. He's at the school board. He's at the Science Center. Congressman Becerra is lobbying him on behalf of Stanford. He's with Chief Beck. He's getting the Cesar Chavez Legacy Awards. I mean, he is the real deal, and you're looking at the future. You're looking at the future, and his family is so proud. They're here with him today. And so I want us to acknowledge him. But this doesn't happen by itself. And all of us are here because we all had that one teacher, that one mentor, that one counselor, and that is Mr. Anthony Yam. He is the stand and deliver of Lincoln Heights. And so, where are you, sir?
Let's give Mr. Young. Great work, sir.
And he's the stand and deliver of Lincoln Heights. He's the coordinator of the Math, Science, and Technology Magnet at Lincoln High School. He's been there 5 years, and every student in his AP calculus class has passed that exam. And it's a very rigorous exam. And, it's the same thing. You focus on one thing. They put in extra hours every day. They're studying on the weekends. He's built a team, and it's and I like to say, we're geeks, right? It's a team of geeks, a team of people who are going to build our future. They're going to be the engineers and the scientists and those that help us solve many of the medical challenges that will confront us in the future. And I'm just very proud to have both of them here. Mr. Yam, we commend you for your leadership and your commitment, and we love the fact that you're in Lincoln Heights. And then, of course, Cedric, we're so proud of you, and we wish you well on the school of your choice. And make it the school of your choice. Mr. Congressman Becerra, and he's a friend of mine, he went to the school of his choice, so you make sure you go to the school of your choice. And if it's Stanford, so be it. And if it's Caltech, we will applaud you as well. And then finally, let me deviate from my notes. But someone who is here almost as much as I am is Principal Jose Torres. And where are you?
Give Principal Torres a round of applause.
I see him all the time.
You do a good job, man.
He's here as much
Good
as
job.
And so with that, it's been a long day. There's been a lot of brilliant people here, talented people. But we are, at this moment, looking at the future of this city. Thank you very much, my colleagues.
Come on, young man. Say a few words.
Good morning. Well, I guess good afternoon now. It's about noon. Council members and Mr. President, thank you for this opportunity to speak to you guys and to be recognized by you guys. It's an honor to be here with my family, my mom and my dad. I know we were recognizing a woman before. My mom is so important to me, so I'm really grateful that
she is your pioneer woman.
And I'd like to thank you guys for all the work that you do. I grew up in LA. I've always been in LA, and LA wouldn't be the LA that I love if it weren't for you guys. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you.
You got this?
Mr. Rue.
I just wanted to rise Thank you, Mr. Cedillo, for bringing this to our attention. I just wanted to quickly rise and congratulate Cedric for an amazing 5. I took the AP exam and I only got a 3. So, I took that same test. And I really want to thank your teacher, Anthony Yam. He was honored earlier this week at the Korean American Coalition for his tremendous efforts in being a teacher in the community. I mean, we thank all the teachers. But I also want to rise because it turns out that Lincoln had a subsidiary, Lincoln Medical Magnet, before it turned to Bravo Medical Magnet, and I am a 1-year alumnus of Lincoln. So congratulations, Principal. Thank you to all the teachers, and congratulations on your future endeavors.
Thank you for that, Mr. Root. Mr. Cedillo?
Well, let's hear from you. Well, everyone, hello. Well, everyone, thank you for this time. And since Cedric stole my speech, I'll try to make it brief. While Cedric's achievement is great, I certainly don't want this to be a one-time deal. And in order to do that, we need everyone's support. And I want everyone in this room to realize that there is someone that you could impact immediately. I'm sure there's teenagers in around each and every one around you. So if you could mentor them and guide them, I'm sure we'll be seeing next Cedric in very near future. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for all you do, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
No, thank you, Mr. Cedillo. Okay, now we're going to move on. Mr. Previn, if you could begin to work your way towards the center aisle, we're going to do 2 of your items. First, Mr. Clerk, I'm going to ask for reconsideration on item 19. If we could open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote. Mr. Previn on item 19. Mr. Previn, item 19. And after that, item 27. Come on, Mr. Previn, you signed up to speak.
Thank you, Council President. I'm just going to take item 19. I don't need to comment on, just 27, and I'll take 60 seconds. So I do appreciate that, sir. Item number 27 is something that I've been looking at closely because recently there was we had some parking preferential districts in the area of Hollywood Hills, and here we have Councilmember Rue and O'Farrell bravely securing the services of a contractor to have a look at the pedestrian and vehicle flow around some of the historic landmarks. As we are very well aware, we have the Hollywood sign, we have Griffith Park, we have a lot of tourist-related places. So this is great, but it does feel a little bit chicken before, because we've also wired up the place already to be, if you park anywhere near the Hollywood sign, you're going to be ticketed, and we've got patrols going on. So I don't know, I thought this should have happened kind of in advance of that to do the test about, I mean, people complain in neighborhoods and they give to their council member and then they move forward. I don't know, this does not excite me. Thank you.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on these 2 items, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Rue?
Mr. Chair, thank you. Just wanted to clarify for the record. There is impending, we needed immediate action in the area, which we do have fine structures. But historically for this area, there's been lots of numbers thrown around on exactly how much traffic, foot traffic as well as car traffic has been in this area. So we wanted to definitively get the Department of Transportation to do a study so we could get an accurate traffic count so it could help us in our future endeavors on how to address the situation at this area. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's prepare to vote on these items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, let's move on now to item 4. Item 4.
And Mr. President, a Planning and Land Use Management Committee report, as well as a new ordinance, have been circulated for Council's consideration.
Okay, so we have some cards, Mr. Weezer, on this item. So if I could get Mr. Herman, Mike, Mr. Hunt, and Mr. Mohammed. Please come forward. Mr. Herman, you're right there. Mr. Herman, Start his time. Okay, he passes. Mr. Hunt, I don't see Mr. Hunt. Mr. Mohammed, please come forward.
I'd like to speak on this item about alcohol.
No, you're on the wrong item then.
Which item which item do I supposed to speak, sir?
Item 4, Mr. Mohammed, doesn't have anything to do with. Okay, let's prepare to vote on. Oh, Mr. Weezar.
Yes, Mr. President. I'd ask that we amend the Planning and Land Use Management Committee report to adopt the ordinance circulated before you in place of the ordinance on file. So we can amend that. And I want to thank Mr. O'Farrell and Mr. Buscaino and all others who help improve this item. It will help for additional public input and that we do it in a way that contemplates getting a long-term solution not only during the winter months. So thank you so much for that input. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, it's my understanding that item 13 you want us to vote on reconsideration. Is that item 13? Let us vote on reconsideration on item 13. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Thank you, Mr. President. On this item, again, if we could adopt the amended Planning and Land Use Management Committee report that has been submitted and circulated in place of the report on file. This is some clerical issues that we needed to clean up before we adopt it. So thank you very much. The correct file is not before us.
Okay, so let's prepare to vote on that item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, now we're going to go, Mr. Clerk, item 22, Mr. Murphy, followed by Ms. McAllister, item 22.
Yes, good morning, Sean Murphy. Item 22, it's a good item. I am supporting it.
Thank you, sir. Ms. McAllister, item 22.
I oppose, I don't agree with item 22. This is $18 million for the purpose of financing the acquisition and rehabilitation of the Columbia Apartments, which is composed of 127 units at scattered sites located at 1034 South Catalina, 50, which is District 1, and then we have District 9, and then we have one more district. We have Herb Wesson, your District 10. Now, there's no breakdown on who's getting what. That's what I want, because based on my research, whenever we have units, it goes to the illegal aliens, which is in District 1. So I want a breakdown. Don't just tell me scattered site. Most of these 127 units should be in the black community, South Central. Every time I see something on these agendas, South Central is left out. It's always in District 1 where Cedilio is, who represents most of the illegal aliens, and Rue. He represents the Asian illegal aliens. So I don't think they should be getting these all of this money. When we build this new affordable housing, we need to follow that criteria of no illegal aliens. If we let illegal aliens in these affordable units, we're right back where we left off. The reason we have a housing problem is because illegal aliens are living in the housing. That's what's going on. And there's going to be a meeting today at 3 o'clock. They want to raise the taxes.
She is not talking about this item.
Housing. That's a bunch of crap.
Stay on the
Listen, City Attorney, I'm going to address you all.
No,
you
are off topic. Thank you very much. Let's prepare to vote on this. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
And Mr. President, before moving on, in regards to our previous item, item number 4, the ordinance will go over 1 week to March 30th for a second reading.
All right.
Mr. President, in regards to item 2B, there's been a request to continue that matter to April 13.
Without objection. Let's go to item, I believe it's 24, called special by cards. Mr. Murphy. Passes. Mr. Herman, Mr. Walsh, please come forward.
Very long presentations. But order, order, order. This resolves an issue of a shooting death of a gentleman, likely African American. But no one really cares. No one really understands what it means to offer $50,000 for life. No one really understands what it means to take a life for money, more money, more money.
Stay on the subject.
The money's about $50,000 that you put on the heads of anyone sacrificing their life to be snitches. Snitches take switches, and switches take snitches, bitches. 1 minute.
Mr. Walsh, followed by Mr. Hunt.
Hello, John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. Again, this is a woman named Candace Ann Altamirano who was murdered, and I'm in favor. I don't believe they're snitches. I believe they're intimidated people who won't turn in the gang members who killed her. And this happened almost 4 years ago, December 2nd, 2012. It's $50,000. Incidentally, the anti-Semites who put anti-Semitic graffiti
on
a
the
building,
subject.
that's $50,000 also. So I just want everyone to know, if you're Hispanic, your life is worth as much as someone who scrawls anti-Semitic and doesn't touch the skin of an anti-Semite, of a Jew. I just want you to know that that's the way they play the game. $50,000. She's a woman, she's Hispanic, and no one gives a damn whether she lives or dies. And when someone gets up and actually does turn someone in, the police commission recommends not to pay out the reward money. That happened last week. Not to pay out the reward money. This is all a joke, and every gang member in the city knows they can kill anybody they damn well want, and you can offer $1 billion reward, and no one is going to take it because snitches get their throats slit.
Thank you. Mr. Hunt.
Thank you. Thank you again. The Red Chief Hunt on the record. I want to talk a little bit about rewards and a little bit about killing. Wherever you find a killing and you find a reward, you're going to find people that's after it. Do I agree with it? No. Is it right? Yes. Should you kill people? No. Should you put rewards out for the perpetrator? I think not. I think that's just inclining the public to go and tell on a whole bunch of wrong people. The investigation probably cost $600,000. Reward for $50,000. That's a bare minimum. What does it do? It causes people to get in trouble. Snitches, rewards, and all of that other bullshit. Should you help LAPD? Nah, you should call for all of them to have DNA tests. The Red Chief Hunt.
Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, let's go to item 21. Mr. Hunt, back at you on item 21. Followed by Mr. Walsh.
Oh, San Pedro, provide jobs. Watts, not jails.
Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. This is the sale of so-called surplus city equipment at below market value to the Friends of Cabrillo Marine Aquarium. What below market value is? $1. In fact, this is Friends of Mr. Buscaino are getting about $35,000, which should be your tax money, $35,000 for $1. So what you have to do to get a good deal is get down on your knees and give Mr. Buscaino a really good $35,000 blowjob.
Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Thank you. That brings us to item 25, called special by Mr. Herman and Ms. McAllister. Please come forward on item 25.
Now we're talking about affordable housing out in an area in Bloomfield, Buscaino. Tally, do we got a vote? No, we oppose. We oppose due to the criticism of what the city attorney did not accomplish on the resolution for a EIRR. So now we have established we have problems in CD3. The Jews are destroying our community. What do we have to lose? I hold my time to 30 seconds.
Ms. McAllister?
Okay, I object to this. You want to waive the city's multi-family bond policy to allow the California Municipal Finance Authority to issue the bonds on behalf of this Rancho del Valle Apartments at 6560 Winnetka Avenue. That's in Council 3, Bob Bloomfield. Now, I did some research on this California Municipal Finance Authority. That is a private company. Those are people who own this. Okay, they're profiting. We should not be allowing these properties in our city to be financed by individuals. This is not even a bank. Look it up, California Municipal Finance, and they also have thousands of properties that they are financing. I looked up the interest rates that they're charging. The interest rates goes up. So why are you overriding the housing authority? Because the housing authority requires that each applicant, they must complete an application, okay, and they must hold public hearings. So by you giving it to a private company, we don't get any public hearings on this. And I want a public hearing. We should not be allowing private companies to profit on homelessness. These are affordable units, supposed to be affordable. I don't even know if they can be affordable now since you're giving it to a private corporation. See, I always look for the profit factor. And the profit factor is you're giving these properties to private corporations where they make a profit, you get a cut, your buddies and your sisters and brothers and everybody else move into the housing, and the people are still on the street. And don't forget the illegal aliens. Where is the provision that no illegal aliens, and I'm talking about 5 generations, because most of these people in here are children of illegal aliens.
Stay on the subject.
I am on the subject. We need a provision in these property documents that if you are illegal, you cannot move into affordable housing.
All right, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Let's move to item 18. Mr. Previn, Mr. Spindler, Mr. Herman.
Good morning, sir. It is Eric Previn. I will take the 2 minutes on this one. Thank you. This is a communication from the CAO, that's the Chief Administrative Officer, City Administrative Officer, City Attorney, regarding the 2015-16 personnel ordinances. So this means our various departments and the staffing requirements. I looked at a few because it's about 40 or so departments. The city attorney has 850 folks lined up. Over 400 of them are deputy city attorney level 3 or above. So this is This includes chief assistants, assistant attorneys. It is an astonishing top-heavy department, and you would think, given that they would be a little more attentive to some of the issues. The city clerk has only 102 employees, and they have been charged with running these elections. They do advance a small extra set of helpers during elections. There's the Ethics Commission, which only has 23, sir, which is surprising. 5 of them have badges. Englander is left, I guess, to go back to the campaigning. The ITA,
Stay on the subject.
Sir, I'm on the subject. ITA, sir, is 460 employees. These are the folks who you have been improperly instructing to violate folks by reducing them in size to the Blumenfield's nose. He's not here. # Blumenfield's nose. And finally, the
Okay,
Department
thank
of
you. You're
Neighborhood
off the
Empowerment,
subject
sir,
again.
is 26.
All right.
Department of Neighborhood Empowerment has 26 employees, which also have a little auxiliary group to bring in for elections. So the reason why I wanted to point out all these departments that circle around elections is neighborhood councils, like in Department of Neighborhood Empowerment with 26 folks, are having elections now. And Mike Fuhr, with 850 lawyers, can't seem to find anyone to administrate them as equitable and fair. So that's why, as I said before, we have reached out to the district attorney to help clarify just kind of what basic fairness is like, because you can't be using city resources, sir, and that's what a little neighborhood council website is, improperly, by putting just the incumbents. Now, this is a gag that is something like if Harris Dawson were running with a billboard in front of the election booth, so you couldn't see anyone but him. Not okay, sir. So we're looking for some help on that, and I would look forward to yours, since you heard about it in the Rules Committee.
Mr. Spindler, please come forward, followed by Mr. Herman.
Yes, here we have the Omnibus Poverty Pimp Personnel Employment Record Act of 2016. Poverty Pimp Personnel Employment Record Act.
We don't have to listen to that, Mr. Spindler. No, hold his time. Hold his time. Mr. Spindler, turn that off. No, we're not listening to that. We'll listen to you. Go ahead.
But I found this new device, and it helps people.
You're off the subject. Thank you very much, Mr. Herman. No, I already warned you. Sit down. Mr. Herman, come on. No, we're not going to listen. We have to listen to you. Not. Okay, they're both disrupting the meeting. Let's remove them from the chambers. That's the 3rd time, at least today, that I've warned them. So let's remove Mr. Spindler and Mr. Herman right now, sergeants. Continuing to disrupt. Go on, get Mr. Sergeants, remove them. No, you're removed from the chambers. You're removed from the chambers and continuing to disrupt. No, look, he's disrupting the meeting again. Sergeants, please remove him.
Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. Krikorian.
As Mr. Herman and Mr. Spindler are continuing to disrupt this meeting, I thought I should state for the record that a guest of the council today who was here, a child of 12 years old, asked his mother after seeing them whether it was safe to be in our council chambers and was concerned about his own personal safety because of the presence and activities and antics of Mr. Spindler and Mr. Herman. So I just thought that it would be important to note that for the record.
Okay, and let's remove Mr. Spindler as well. Okay. No, he's still disrupting. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
And, Mr. President, those ordinances will go over for a second read to March 30th.
Got you. Mr. Walsh and Mr. Hunt on item 2.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org and also at J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dams. This concerns unpaid taxes. Again, I have said that you do a good job of tracking down people who haven't paid their taxes. Here we have on number 2, $116,188.52. This person has been given chance after chance to pay the taxes. They've refused to pay the taxes, and now you're going after them. Again, when you do a good job, I'm the first to congratulate you. When you do a crooked job, I'm the first to condemn you. HollywoodHighlands.org. Was that disruptive?
Okay, next speaker. Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Mr. Clerk, why don't we recess the regular meeting, go into the special?
Very good, sir. Blumenfield, Bonabus, Gano, Cedillo, Engler, Fuentes, Harris, Dawson, Weezer, Carrasco, Corin, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Weston, 11 members present and a quorum.
Okay, now, can we take these items up together?
Yes, sir.
No, you're disrupting the meeting, Ms. McAllister. You need to stop.
And, Mr. President, before beginning, there has been a corrected committee report for item number 35 that has been circulated and is now before council for its consideration.
Let's prepare to vote on these items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
And it's my understanding 2 of these items go forthwith. They are which? 33 and 34 go forthwith.
Yes, sir.
Can we adjourn and return to the regular meeting on this?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, now we're going to item 23. Mr. Walsh and Mr. Previn on item 23. And Mr. Hunt. So on item 23, we have Mr. Walsh, Mr. Previn, and Mr. Hunt on item 23.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. This, again, is a gift of a digital wireless surveillance camera worth several $1,000 to the Hollywood Entertainment District. It's against the law for the city of Los Angeles to just hand out expensive gifts like that. $15,000. Wouldn't it be nice if Herb put $15,000 in your pocket, but he puts it in the pocket of the people who blow Mr. O'Farrell, because Mr. O'Farrell is now putting $15,000. You should get a really good blow job.
Stay on the subject. Stay on the subject. Okay, next speaker, Mr. Previn, followed by Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Council President Wesson. It is Eric Previn in the horror of the Hall of Defenestration down here at John Ferraro Chambers. I'm vigorously opposed to throwing people out of meetings, but
no, you're off the subject. You're off the subject, Mr. Previn.
Digital. I'm sorry, sir. It's digital wireless surveillance cameras for the Hollywood Entertainment District, and they've got a group. It's Hollywood Property Owners Alliance. We have something similar in my district called Residents Association. It's a group of people who pull together their assets and resources to try to, help out. You've heard of business improvement districts. I think it's a little similar. So here we're taking 15 grand in Rue's district. I'm pretty sure it might be well, let's get the district straight away later. No, it's O'Farrell's district. Fair enough. And it's an area, obviously, where there's some activity. So the idea is to provide surveillance. But the question becomes, why is it that law enforcement is not handling this? Because when you have private operators funding the stuff, we like that, but ordinarily it comes through the police foundation. I know you like that. I'm not sure I love it as much, but I do. I don't like the idea that individuals can put some money on the table and get law enforcement. Because then I think when there are controversial issues, they have sway, the machines are not, I don't know. Bonin has been a champion of posting cameras all over the place in his district at private expense. So I don't know. We're facing some very interesting surveillance issues in our time. This is a zeitgeisty issue, as Krikorian will attest. We have body camera video equipment that's coming forward, but the question of who can look at it has been raised by rights groups, by members of the public, by law enforcement. And so I just think that right now we should be very judicious, not glib about saying, hey, thanks for all that support during the election. Here's a camera on the corner like you wanted. You guys pay for it. I'll take care of tying it into LAPD, and we'll go from there. I feel like that is kind of not what really we want. We do want protection, but shouldn't the LAPD be covering the cost? They have such a robust budget on these things. I mean, shouldn't they be providing a solution that is administered by the law enforcement as opposed to by an association that may not like a guy who
Thank
pushes
you.
his
Mr.
car?
Hunt, come forward.
The Red Chief Hunt, for the record. I want to talk about the city paying for anything. The constitutionality of it, is it legal? Does it have legal protection for the city, but does it have the legal constitution permit that we can just take and photograph anybody with cameras? I think that issue need to be raised before we spend any of the city's money, and I think there should be a vote from the people. The Constitution say we the people, and you guys are representing us to spend our money at this location, $15,000 for cameras. So what is it going to do? Who's going to look at it? And why are they going to look at it? Is it going to reduce crime? Why are we spending our money on this and have the people had a chance to vote on it? The constitutionality of it is my main concern. These cameras, are they being used for what purpose?
Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Mr. O'Farrell?
Just take a quick moment. I think this is a great opportunity for me to thank the Hollywood Property Owners Alliance for their donation from private funds to help make Hollywood safer. Hollywood is visited by millions of tourists per year. It's a neighborhood, a community of residents and businesses, and this is a great step forward in surveillance on a public right-of-way to make Hollywood safer and more welcoming for its residents and tourists from across the world. So once again, thank you, Hollywood Property Owners Alliance, for this contribution to help make Hollywood safer.
Thank you for that clarification, Mr. O'Farrell. Okay, let's move on to item 30. Yes, go ahead.
Pardon me, sir. Item 30, in the case entitled Montalongo versus City of Los Angeles et al., there's a recommendation to expend $250,000 in settlement.
Okay, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, we'll now move to item 26. Mr. Hunt, item 26. Mr. Hunt passes. Let us prepare to, Mr. Walsh is out of time. Let us prepare to vote on item 26. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, that brings us where?
Mr. President, that leaves item 28. It's an item scheduled for closed session.
Okay, why don't we clear the chambers and we'll go into closed session. Sergeants, please remove all non-essential folk from the chambers. We're back in regular session. Before we vote on this item, I want to indicate that all items that were on the regular meeting will go forthwith. Now, members, let's vote on the item that is before Mr. City Attorney. Mr. Clerk, I'm sorry.
Certainly. Mr. President, if I may, for item 28, in the case entitled Robert Contreras versus City of Los Angeles, Julio Benavides and Mario Flores, there's a recommendation to pay attorney's fees, the final judgment plus accrued interest, in the amount of $6,893,124.64.
Okay, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That brings us where, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, that brings council to general public comment.
Okay, Mr. Murphy, followed by Mr. Walsh, followed by Mr. Previn.
Yeah. Happy Good Friday. Happy Easter. My choir will be busy. One word to DWP. They need to lower their prices. They need to cut their prices.
Thank you, sir. So if I could have Mr. Walsh, Mr. Previn, Ms. McAllister.
John Walsh, J. Walsh, Confidential. L.A. Mayor Garcetti, triple now the police protection for L.A. subway riders. We are exposed since yesterday's ISIS terrorist explosion. I challenge the national media to compare the amount of protection the NYPD gives New York subway riders compared to where we are here. We have absolutely nothing. I didn't see one cop when I came down here from Hollywood. They don't give a damn. And believe me, ISIS is real smart. They're going to attack at the weakest point. And the weakest point for subway security in America. And Barbara Boxer stood right here and praised to high heaven earlier today the Red Line MTA LA subway. It's going to turn red. And you don't give a damn because most of the riders are minorities.
Thank you. Mr. Previn, followed by Ms. McAllister, followed by Mr. Mohammed.
Yes, sir, it is Eric Previn, and boy, the city attorney has been busy. That is a robust settlement, sir, at item 28, $6.8 million for that case. That was, as you know, a kill case that was appealed to the Supreme Court. You lost. So I guess I don't know who the attorney is. I'd like that read into the record as well, who got the $1+ million or so in fees. Sir, I don't know what to say because we are at a point, sort of a little bit of a crossroads here. I know that you value the electoral process, and I know that you believe in fair and equitable elections. But I think that at the Rules Committee, where I laid it out for you in clear English, you heard that we are having some problems. And I think it was only Mr. Krikorian's office who intervened finally after 5 weeks of not having any candidate information on a city website. He wrote a note, and then miraculously it was clarified and they posted the candidate information. But all that lost time, sir, has resulted in a request for a 21-day extension of online voting. And I would ask you to confer with Mike Fior, who's a great guy, by the way, and see if you can come up with something. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. McAllister, followed by Mr. Mohammed, followed by Mr. Hunt.
I wish you would take this parade that you had today for 2.5 hours to some hotel somewhere, okay? Don't bring that crap up in here. This is about serious business. Now, the city attorney's office, what the heck are they doing making $120 million? That's in the budget. $120 million.
Hold her time. Ms. McAllister, you have to be respectful to our translator. When you yell into the microphone, it bothers them. It is uncomfortable. I am not going to allow anyone to yell and scream. So say what you want to say, but say it in a calm fashion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I didn't know I was yelling. $120 million in the city attorney's office. I'm going to investigate this. You're giving the police $1,442,000,000. Now, I want everybody to tune in today at 3 o'clock, the Homeless Committee upstairs, 3 o'clock, everybody online. Listen to this. They want to put on the ballot, they want to raise taxes for us to pay for the homeless. That's a lie. I went to another meeting. We're not going to pay another dime. I went to a meeting last week, the foreclosure registry program. They're paying a clerk typist, a woman or a man who sits down, $187,000 a year to type something, and a clerk typist number 2, $84,000. Let's say that again. Clerk typist 1, $84,000, and a clerk typist 2, $187,000. Sit down and type. We're going to get you guys out of office.
Okay, Mr. Muhammad, are you here? Followed by Mr. Hunt.
Yeah, I signed up for speaker on number 3, but you switched me to number 4. So I'm not surprised what a politician won't do or what a black preacher won't do or say. But anyway, we need more affordable housing. In this days, we should turn to the critical time. We're living in critical times. We should ask for some super to come about. We need a super democracy. We see where the African-American black females are stranded from the church house. They living on the sidewalk, all their belongings in their carrying sack. They need immediate aid. But anyway, you go downtown Skid Row, you see the homeless down there living a very undignified life. There's no upliftment for them to survive in that situation. But in the dangers downtown Skid Row, you see the police department will run over you if you're standing on the curb, and the MTA bus will run over you if you're standing on the curb. And many times I've been asked, though, do the MTA operators pay federal income tax? Are they exempt? They come under nonprofit organization?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hunt.
Thank you. The Red Chief Hunt for the record. Mr. President, I am ashamed of you, and let me tell you why. The Brown Act is a part of the Constitution of the United States. If you don't read it, you can't apply it to the meeting. If you can't apply it to the meeting and run the meeting correctly, you're out of order. It's a federal misdemeanor to kick people out in the middle of their conversation. Dean Pragerson said, when it's your 2 minutes to speak, that's your 2 minutes. That comes from Dow versus the city of Los Angeles. You're African American. You're supposed to represent the people twice as good as the white folks do. And you don't do that yet. You don't read the Constitution of the United States of California. That's very sad. You represent me. And you have to be on time. You need to get your shit together. People are calling you niggas. Not for it because you're black, because you're not following the Constitution.
All right, let's move on. I believe that concludes general public comment. What's additional business before this body?
Mr. President, Council has motions for posting and referral.
They are posted and referred.
The desk is clear.
Okay, I've just been informed that we have a Krikorian birthday sighting, maybe, and a Cedillo possible birthday sighting. So we want to, whenever you guys become 39 again, wish you happy birthday. Oh, Mr. Bonin, you're turning 39 as well, or are you 29? Oh, last Saturday he turned 39. Okay, happy birthday to each and every one of you. Another announcement. Is Xavier here? For the past 2 days, Xavier Leonard is over here. Come up quickly. Go by Mr. Rue, Xavier. I want people to see you quickly. Keep close. Can we get it? Xavier has been here studying us for the last couple of days. He's in the midst of getting a doctorate degree and wanted to come and kind of shadow me and watch us. And I think that this has been a eye-opening experience for him, and I can't wait to read the paper that you write on us. So with that said, announcements, members, announcements. Now, Mr. Bonin?
Yes, colleagues, due to the late hour, Transportation Committee will begin at 1:30.
Okay, Transportation will begin 1:30. Any other announcements? If all could rise for adjourning motions, if all in the chambers could please rise. I will look to my left side. Mr. Harris Dawson.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Members, council members, I ask today that we adjourn in honor of Malik Taylor, otherwise known as Fife Dog, who died last night at the age of 45. Taylor was a founding member of the transformative, celebrated hip-hop group A Tribe Called Quest. He appeared on all 5 of their albums, most notably 1991's The Low End Theory and 1993's The Midnight Marauders. He was born in Jamaica, Queens in 1970. He lived in the same neighborhood with other members of the group. At 19, they began recording and recorded what many regards as one of the top hip-hop albums of all time. For those of you who are not acquainted with hip-hop, A Tribe Called Quest is the Earth, Wind, and Fire, or the Rolling Stones of the hip-hop genre. Mr. Malik suffered from type 1 diabetes for several years and became a voice not only for diabetes prevention but also on addiction, because he struggled with a sugar addiction even though sugar made him very, very sick. And so last night he succumbed, and we asked that all members join us in adjourning in his memory.
Thank you, sir. Now I'm going to look to my right side. Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues ask that we adjourn in memory of Antonio Paz Gonzalez. Antonio was born in Puebla, Mexico, where he met and married his wife, Valentina. They started a family, and in 1993, Antonio made the journey to the United States, initially alone, like so many immigrants, to find a better life to provide for his family. Antonio settled in El Sereno and worked hard selling fruit, and later as a cook in restaurants, earning enough money to bring to his family, who joined him successfully, and they pursued the American dream. Besides being known as a hard and skilled worker, Antonio was well known as a good and loving family man. Taking care of his family was the most important thing to him. Antonio saved enough money to purchase his own cab and joined some of his relatives who had done the same. After a lifetime of working for others, he was proud to be his own boss. Unfortunately, he was tragically and senselessly killed in an apparent robbery that occurred in Ball Heights on Worth Street last Sunday, March 13th. Anybody with information about this tragic incident, please call the Hollenbeck detectives. We would greatly appreciate it. There is a GoFundMe account set up to assist his family with funeral costs that you can find on my Facebook page as well. Condolences to Antonio Paz Gonzalez's family and friends, and certainly a very tragic event. Someone who's so hardworking and was committed to his family, to this community, and helping people get to and about town, sometimes offering free rides, and just a real senseless murder that occurred. May he rest in peace. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, I'm continuing to look. Mr. Price.
Members, I ask that we adjourn this morning in the memory of Doris Jean Kemp Berryman Blaker. She passed away March the 8th at Cedars Sinai in Beverly Hills. For over a quarter of a century, Jeannie has a history of community and political activism in Los Angeles. She served as a volunteer for every presidential campaign from John F. Kennedy to Barack Obama's, for the gubernatorial campaigns of Pat Brown, Jerry Brown, for congressional campaigns of Barbara Boxer, Yvonne Burke, Maxine Waters, Diane Watson, Karen Bass, Herb Dimely, Augustus Hawkins, and Janice Hahn, and for the city council campaigns of Billy Mills, Robert Farrell, and Bernard Parks. From 2007 to 2012, Jeannie volunteered for Obama for America and served as community organizer and staging director for Organizing for America, President Obama's grassroots election and re-election campaigns. She served as a Southern Area Coordinator for Women for Obama and organized Inglewood women to serve on Michelle Obama's Let's Move project. Jeannie was also actively involved in her labor union, the California School Employees Association, AFL-CIO, coordinating the political action for the union in the counties of Los Angeles, Ventura, San Luis Obispo, and Santa Barbara. She held many positions over the years. Jeannie worked at USC as an executive secretary for 10 years. Later in life, she worked for the LA Unified School District for 10 years at Menlo Avenue Elementary School, Horace Mann Middle School, and Manual Arts High School before her retirement in 2005. Jeannie leaves a host of family members and close friends who will always cherish her memory, and we wish her peace.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Mr. Rue.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to adjourn in the memory of Dr. Hee-Kyung Choi, who passed away on March 11, 2016 at the age of 76. Dr. Choi was born in Seoul, South Korea on December 9, 1939, and he attended Gyeonggi High School and Seoul National University School of Law. He went on to earn 2 master's degrees and a doctorate in economics from the University of Oregon. He worked for the Chosun Daily newspaper Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, Hongik University, and later Sanmi Corporation, a large manufacturer of steel products where he climbed to the rank of vice president. After the Asian stock market crash of 1998, which forced the closure of Sanmi Corporation, Dr. Che returned to academia as a college economics professor. Dr. Che and his wife, Inja, moved to Los Angeles in 2004 to be closer with their children. Unfortunately, most of his time here was spent tending to his critically ill wife. Despite this challenge, he made time for his various communities. He served as the president of the Los Angeles Seoul National University Alumni Association and spent the rest of his time teaching seniors the efficiencies of using a computer. He received an award for his dedication and stewardship of his local alumni associations. Dr. Che is survived by his wife, daughter, son, son-in-law, granddaughters, 5 siblings, 5 nephews, and 7 nieces. In lieu of flowers, please send donations in Dr. Che's name to Road Monkey Foundation, a project to provide sustainable material playgrounds and clean water systems to oversee communities in need. Thank you, and may all our thoughts and prayers be with the family and friends of Dr. Che.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rue. I am still looking to my right. I don't see any other adjourning motions. Members have an enjoyable weekend. This meeting is adjourned.